Hi, I have a 5-year-old. I don't truly care, because the possibility of this getting something on it is very high. Hello folks, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Canada. If you're here for the first time, yes, that is my last name. And if you enjoy vintage, sewing, all with a heavy dose of sarcasm, you should click that subscribe button. For those of you that are returning and waiting for me to pull out my thrifting goodness, this is not that video. No, friends, that title, she was not clickbait. I truly am about to pull apart this $150 skirt and piece in this $100 fabric. Yeah, I'm terrified. So now that you know the short of it, let's go into the long of it. About 2 years ago, I found this lovely piece of fabric. It is dead stock John Wolfe fabric that is the Carmen border print. Now, for those of you that don't know, which is probably most of you, I am also an operatic stage manager when there isn't an epic pandemic that shuts down my entire industry. So this fabric spoke to me immediately, and I decided that I had to have it. Now, the downside is there's not much of this. So I knew that this was going to take either a very long time for me to find an appropriate other piece of dead stock fabric, or I was going to have to wait and find a skirt that I could rip it apart and put more in. Because most of the time, skirts are really tiny, and, well, I'm not. So about 9 months ago or so, I was on one of my lovely Facebook groups, and this one popped up. Now, I'm not really sure what they were thinking when they put this together, other than just, I have these two pieces and they vaguely work together. Color block skirts aren't my thing, and so while I do adore the smaller pink section of this does not really go with this very tan version. And the pink waistband was also an active choice that, sure, why not? Now, I'm not really here to judge the person that made this. I'm sure it was just sort of like me, like, I have this piece of fabric and this piece of fabric, and they vaguely match. So, it's fine. But for me, not really a skirt that I can get behind and wear comfortably, because what colors really go with these? I don't actually know. So what I'm gonna do today is I am going to take apart this skirt very, very carefully, and I'm going to piece in, after I wash, this piece of dead stock fabric, because this dead stock fabric is still very stiff and lovely. This is worn and soft and lovely. So I have to get this at least vaguely close to the thing I just dropped. To this. Now, the other downside to this fabric, which actually isn't going to be too bad, because it is dead stock fabric, it does have the original sticker. And old stickers, while they are lovely and do tell you the fabric content and how long the original piece was, it doesn't do well when it's been on here for 70 years. There's some serious residue under this that I'm probably not going to be able to get out. So my solution is I'm going to tuck it into the hem and pretend it doesn't exist. There's also a couple other small stains on here, but hi, I have a 5-year-old. I don't truly care, because the possibility of this getting something on it is very high. So, everyone say it with me now. Let's grab our coffees and get ripping. Now, the one thing I can give them, that pattern matching is spectacular, but pink and tan, not ideal. Someday in the future, I will learn to wash the fabric before the day I want to use it. However, today is not that day. Alright folks, just to prove everyone that I am not lying about the size of this skirt, as I take the stabby McStab pen off of the end of my tape measure, I'm going to show you where we're starting out at. This waist is currently 30.25. Well, no. The waist is currently 30 inches. My waist is not 30 inches. So, let's work on that, shall we? Well, friends, here we are. Me, the skirt, and the seam ripper. For better, for worse. Okay, so, most importantly, I am not going to attempt to remove that hair. No, I'm going to remove that hair. I am not going to attempt to remove this zipper. I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to change out the waistband, which means I have to do the demonic buttonhole. But I am going to leave the zipper alone, because it's 2 pieces of tan. One annoying step that I don't have to do. Whew. Okay, here we go. No turning back now. So one thing I was noticing on this side more than the other is that right here, I don't know how well you can see that. Right along here, there's a pink discoloration from where the pink thread color bled all over this thing. So I'm gonna have to make sure I hide this when I go to sew this together again. So let's keep seam ripping. Now for this one, I'm making sure to protect the fabric as much as possible, so I'm actually going in between the 2 pieces and popping the threads there, because I don't want to catch the weave of the fabric. I know you can use this differently by using the little red ball to go in, but that just terrifies me, so I'm not gonna. This is too expensive to do that with, and I'm scared. Now I do pull a little bit as I go along, just to try and speed up the process, just a skosh. I will give them this. They lined that print up real well. So whoever put this together originally, good on ya. Not nervous at all working with really expensive things. Ah yes, friends, and now with this giant pile of thread, it is done and ripped apart. Oh boy, I guess that means I have to cut the other piece now. Oh no, wait. I forgot to seam rip all of the gathering stitches from the old skirt, because I can guarantee it will not be the same amount of gathering, so some more ripping ensued. I opted not to show you this one. Now to attempt to press flat this skirt piece because, well, they'd been in gathers for a very long time and didn't really want to be flat, or stay flat. And since I don't keep steam in my iron, it was a little difficult to keep her flat. Well, I guess that's it. No more stalling. Now I do actually have to cut it. Oh god. Alright, Band-Aid fully ripped off and wait! I need pockets! Now thankfully I had some muslin, I don't know what type of fabric lying around that was vaguely similar color, so we're using that, my scissors, and that good old erasable ink pen. Let's make some pockets. Now while I'm only showing you cutting out one full pocket, I did actually make one for each side, so that on each side I have a pocket. Hooray! Pockets. Ah yes, and this is the point where I realized that my Michelin pocket had a curved waistband, whereas mine is going to be straight across, so I just trimmed the tops off. That's so very generous of you that you think that I don't use the manual every single time I put a new bobbin in. Do I remember these things? No. That, my friends, is why they made books. Starting off by attaching my pockets to the sides of my brand new fabric. No, I was not sweating bullets. Of course not. Making sure to do that understitching because I really have no desire for this fabric to peek through the gathers of my skirt. Now, of course, you have to pin it together so that that little mitten is sticking out. Somehow I managed to not make either pocket line up. Not sure how I pulled that off, but oh well. And trying to keep the same pocket opening size for each side. Fun fact, they were far too small. And I won't subject you to the pure torture that is watching me pink these edges fully. Just know that I did bother to finish my edges, but my pinking shears are like dog with old teeth, so it's more like gnawing than it is cutting anymore. And yes, indeed, I sure did take the shortcut of only doing one gathering thread, as I had to do 3 separate ones. I had to do one for each side back panel, and then I had to do one for the front panels. So yes, I took a shortcut. Am I sad about it? A little, because the gathering sort of sucked after that. Well, the gathering took more time. It didn't suck. But yeah, I see why 2 gathering threads are necessary, but I opted not to. Now, I did use the waistband of the previous skirt to make sure that I was cutting out the correct style of waistband for this skirt, basically just making sure I had it folded over the correct amount of times. I still managed to not quite do it right because I didn't give myself quite enough on the backside, but it'll be fine. It's my skirt. I'm not going to worry about it. And as always, I took time to make sure that I pinned the center and quarters of my waistband, leaving that 1-inch tab flap situation for the closures. And as I'm not going to force you to sit through the entire 45 minutes that it took me to gather this daggone thing, and then the additional 30 minutes it took me to pin it, let's just fast forward through this bit, shall we? Now, once I'm done with my gathering and I have it to the point that I want it to be at, I am making sure to actually backstitch using those threads so that the gathers aren't going to go run away on me, like they have before. One eternity later. And now the painstaking and anxiety-inducing sewing the waistband to the skirt. Because I had to keep straightening the waist gathers out, because I didn't want them to lay funky and twist and do odd things, so I kept having to straighten and sew, straighten and sew. Looking back, I'm realizing that 2 gathering stitches probably would have been a good idea. Oh well. And because I am the absolute worst at making waistbands look not like a 5-year-old made them, I didn't remember to stitch the end together until after I had already sewed the skirt together. Or the other end. Yeah, I really should work on that. And I'm living dangerously by turning my corner with my scissors. Yep, wise choices were made. And now you get to see just how little I left myself on the backside. I basically have about 1/8 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch on my turned part, so all of this waistband on the back was attached by hand. I didn't get to do my lazy sewing method this go around. Now I also did a hand-stitched hem as well as adding snaps as fasteners because I did not want to bother with a buttonhole. / I didn't make the waistband long enough to fit a buttonhole, but that's neither here nor there. So what I did end up doing was finding a really lovely button out of my massive button stash that sort of felt operatic to me, the little gold with sparkly bits, but toned down. And I added that on top so that it looks like there's a button, but there's not. Now, here she is all said and done. The things that I've noticed are that the tan that came with the original pink skirt, I feel like got pink dye a little bit over the age, because it doesn't perfectly match my brand new dead stock tan, but I don't really care. I do enjoy the pockets, however, I definitely set them up too high, and the 5-inch entrance is not nearly large enough, so I will have to do some seam ripping shenanigans and adjust that opening just a little. Now, before you come at me in the comments, I am very clear that my pattern matching is garbage. However, the 112-inch sweep took precedent over piecing the skirt together to attempt to make it line up. So yeah, basically I don't care. Because it's mine. And I'm the only person that will ever notice. Okay, other people might notice, but I still don't care. Well, folks, another project in the basket, or closet, I guess now, since I can actually wear it. Huzzah! I do hope you enjoyed watching me tackle this project today. If you did, make sure you click that like button. And if you want to see more of these adventures, and just me in general, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Please make sure to turn on that bell for post notifications so YouTube actually knows you would like to see my video. Shocking! Thanks so much for watching, folks. See y'all next time. Yes, that was my sad attempt at a wink. I know, it's bad. I shouldn't do that. So, everyone say it with me now. Let's grab our coffees and get sewing. Oh, I guess it's ripping. Because I have to do that first. I do hope you enjoyed watching me tackle... Hi, I have a 5-year-old. I don't truly care, because the possibility of this